Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Day's federal arraignment is set for May 27th, and his state arraignment is scheduled for June 3rd. Happening in Milwaukee.
I just am so grateful to the community for continuing to invest in Milwaukee Public Schools, and I'm really grateful for their belief and the hope that I think we're building across the city and everybody wanting to step up to the plate and help our students.
That's Milwaukee Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Brenda Casilius after the Greater Milwaukee Committee secured over $500,000 for the new Superintendent Leader Impact Fund. The money would directly support Dr. Casilius's initiatives, including leadership training and professional development for staff and community listening sessions. On that investment, President of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, Joel Brennan, tells WTMJ.
This is a one-time fund for her use. Ultimately, this relatively small amount of philanthropy pales in comparison to the public money that's spent in the classroom, set up for her transition. The supporters of this come from, around the community. They're both in the philanthropy and in the business community.
The money will not be in control of the MPS school board. The next audit of MPS finances will be publicly available in 2 weeks. New information sheds light on a days-long armed standoff in the village of Fredonia.
While reflecting on a nearly 38-hour standoff, Ozaukee County Sheriff Kristin says her team is exhausted but relieved that the situation ended peacefully.
A lot of this was meant to plan his psyche and break him, and he eventually was broke.
Knowles says the suspect is a 37-year-old man who had previously expressed disdain for law enforcement.
This was a 2-officer response at all times based on some of the past history we had with him.
Multiple charges have been recommended but not yet filed. In Port Washington, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
And President Trump begins his first major overseas trip to the Middle East.
Saudi Arabia was the first stop for President Trump during his first term in office. This trip is again a break from his predecessors who visited traditional U.S. allies, Canada, Mexico, or the U.K. on their first official foreign trips. Saudi Arabia has significant economic influence in this region and has increased its political influence too, recently hosting peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Riyadh.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. Some mixed results here at 10:05. The Dow currently down about 200 points at 42,228. NASDAQ is up about 250, a second consecutive strong day here for the tech-heavy indice at 18,961. S&P 500 is up about 40 today at 5885. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:05.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. For more than 8 years, QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. You heard that right. Non-surgical relief. More than 50,000 patients who had knee pain, back pain, now living pain-free. Those with shoulder and hip pain, it's gone. The regenerative cell therapy restores tissues in your achy joints. Dr. Caravelli's team uses biologic growth factors with robust healing properties carefully and strategically placed in your joint. And there's no surgery. Remember that. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing the old tissue. Here's what you do. You call today, 414-285-3474, 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Fleet Farm's Garden Center has discounts on hundreds of plants, flowers, vegetables, fertilizers, and more. Like Farm Fresh Selects 10-inch hanging baskets for $17.99. And large bags of Miracle-Gro all-purpose garden soil for just $7.99. Plus, get a 21-inch full-bore 3-in-1 push mower on sale for only $259.99. When it comes to the great outdoors, let Fleet Farm handle all your patio, lawn, and garden needs at the best prices guaranteed.
Looking for a getaway with fantastic outdoor recreation? Sheboygan is a perfect destination. Hike or bike through Kohler Andre State Park and other local parks. There are all kinds of water sports, including surfing, paddleboarding, and kayaking. Sheboygan's walkability takes you to South Pier. Visit shops, play mini golf, and enjoy fine dining. Shop their farmers market and take in live music. It's the Malibu of the Midwest. Plan your getaway today at visitsheboygan.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. We've got the Brewers and Guardians once again tonight from Cleveland. Coverage gets underway at 4:30 on WTMJ. There is some rain in the area. Hopefully they're able to get this one in. Brewers working off a 5-0 loss to Cleveland last night. And ESPN reporting the Packers will take on the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at Lambeau Field Monday Night Football on November 10th. The NFL also announcing Green Bay will play the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field on Saturday, December 20th. That game will be aired on Fox. The full NFL schedule will be revealed on Wednesday evening. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Safer traffic update. 4145 north, the ramp at Burleigh Street, the left shoulder blocked due to a disabled vehicle. That's complicating matters already with the construction in that area. You're on the brakes, 41 northbound, right around a little after Watertown Plank, roughly North Avenue up through Hampton. Southbound, the delays begin just south of 175. In between Silver Spring and Hampton all the way through to North Avenue. Otherwise, standard travel times on the system this morning.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Richlawn's Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlawns.com when you're due for service.
Some rain remains on the radar, mainly out to the west, a little west of Oconomowoc, kind of moving in the westerly direction. Starting to clear up a little bit here in Milwaukee and the general listening area. We'll warm up to 75 inland, 65 near the lake. Patchy fog tonight with a low of 51. Back into the mid-70s on Wednesday. Partly cloudy with a chance of an isolated shower. Right now it is 59 degrees in Milwaukee. It is 67 in Madison and sunny, 68 in Green Bay, 66 in Waukesha. I'm Greg Matzik, Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:10.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Lucky number 13th day of the month. I don't buy into the 13. Do you buy into the 13 as an unlucky number?
No.
Kristin, I don't either.
I'm not a superstitious person.
No, I'm not either. That seems dumb to me.
I believe in karma.
I believe in good karma.
Yeah, I believe. I believe. I think I believe in putting good things out in the world and good things coming back, or sometimes people getting what they deserve. But not so much just random super. Like I spilled salt the other day, and Mike didn't want to touch it. He's like, "That's not on me. You got to pick that up or clean it up."
Let me ask you this question since you brought it. It's totally insignificant, irrelevant to what we're going to talk about today. But if you see salt on a surface in your kitchen, do you just brush it on the floor, or do you actually get it up and wipe it off with a wet paper towel or something? You brush it off, don't you?
I
knew that was the answer.
Should I answer truthfully, or every once in a while I will do? I think it also depends on the amount.
Yes, if there's a lot of salt, you're almost certainly.
Do you think that was salt that Macron was just had on the table?
I don't know what it was, but I'm so sick of talking about stories like that.
We didn't talk about it on air at all. What are you talking about?
I thought we did.
No,
Was that off the air?
We talked about it before the show yesterday, because what the Prime Minister of France is doing isn't really important to the show. That's more internet fodder.
I like him though. I like him as a leader.
What do you like about him?
He's a confident guy, good looking man. He's got the roll down pat. I think I think he's trying to do what's good for France.
For France? Have you been to France? Have you been on one of your many vacations?
Many times.
Which part would you like? Are you more of a Paris guy or the South?
Well, I mean, Paris was amazing. South, Marseille, and the Gulf, or not the Gulf, Mediterranean coast is awesome and gorgeous. It's a beautiful country. I encourage people to go. And whether you want to go to a big city or not, Paris is worth seeing. So definitely go there.
Do you rank your cities? Where would you rank your cities? What's your number one city you've ever been to?
to visit. I love Washington, D.C. in the United States. Love the city. Everything about it, the architecture, the things you can do, the restaurants, the scene.
Well, you wouldn't, I don't know, it'd be interesting to go there right now. They're having a little bit of a hard time
Right.
as far as their own local
Yes.
recession that is happening because of
Yes.
the gutting of the federal government and real estate's dropping. I think just spending in general around that whole city is not, it's seen better times.
Yeah, but it's still a great city. And it's very pretty in the spring and summer. And I encourage people to go. If you've never been, schedule a family vacation out there. There's so many cool places to go see. You can separate the politics and just enjoy this stuff. Yeah, there'll be some clown wearing a MAGA hat in the National Archives building, but just ignore him. They probably want to be ignored anyway.
Could you just ignore him? I feel like you get bothered by what other people. You just were complaining about someone putting an initial in their name.
I don't understand. So if your name is, let's say, John Q. Smith, what do you need the Q for?
I don't know. SAG rules probably has to.
Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, I don't know if the guy we were talking about is in SAG.
It
but
seems self-important.
That is like
to me.
Michael B. Jordan, the actor.
Yeah, because that's a confusing name, right? Because you think Michael Jordan, you think of the basketball player, not the actor. I get that, but
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, I guess.
But that's SAG rules because no one can have the same name. In SAG.
And then when I hear middle names, I'm thinking serial killer first and foremost. Serial killer always have the full three names. Never.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, not a fan.
All right, what are we talking about today?
I don't know. Anyway,
this is
we're going to talk about
a lot of
Democrats.
time.
We're going to do
All
a half hour on Democrats because there's obviously this great new book that's coming out, and I'm a big Jake Tapper guy, big fan of how he does his job. Of course, you can see him late afternoons on CNN. He does a Sunday morning program as well. He's a journalist and a commentator, and I think he does a really good job of telling stories. But he's also a writer and has written a bunch of different books, and he's got a new book coming out that looks back at the end of the Biden administration. Fascinating look at the problem for Democrats, not just then, but now. And
You can't wait to read it.
I can't wait to read it.
It's called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. So it's Jake Tapper and Axios' Alex Thompson.
And some of the claims that they were thinking of actually having to put him in a wheelchair because he had a foot injury that he had sustained and he was having inability to walk, although that's been countered now by some of his previous people around him in his inner circle who say he had this obvious injury and he was okay, and they've been sharing pictures of him jogging and all that stuff.
Well, that's what I didn't understand last week when he was on The View, and I had said that, I don't know if I said it on the show or not, but I was just like, why is he doing this media tour?
Yeah.
And it makes a little bit more sense now that they were trying to get it in front of this book.
Look, and people get mad at me when I do this, which is stupid. I've had face-to-face conversations with him. He invited me to the White House when he was vice president a lot because he worked on gun violence, and I was actively working on behalf of mayors and communities on that issue. And I had conversations this far apart, and he was engaging and smart. Now, this is 10 years ago, right? And time affects people significantly in their 70s and 80s and beyond. We all know that. We all see that. But he was sharp as a tack then. I didn't get a chance to sit down and talk to him in the last 2 years, but I'm guessing that most of the perception, we know the public perception, was mostly determined by his performance in that horrendous debate where he was confused. He said he was sick.
He said he was sick. I mean, it was interesting to hear as that unfolded, and I think there was a lot of people inside the Democratic Party, the Obama bros from Crooked Media. I know a lot of people from the Bulwark really calling, saying, this guy, he's got to step down. And in the aftermath of both him stepping down and then after Kamala Harris lost, of how did this happen? And I think it'll be interesting to what this book discovers, because it sounds like all of the interviews that they did for the book came after the election. Mm-hmm. So it's not stuff that was happening during, and where people are maybe a little bit more willing to talk. But it's interesting because what I've been able to piece together through different interviews and different moratoriums is basically it was because of COVID, of how insular his inner circle really was, because so much was over Zoom in those first 2 years of first year especially of his administration. And then once it was, we can do it virtually, we can do it remotely, and you could keep it that small, it became a lot easier to hide maybe what he was dealing with.
all of these things, these details emerge slowly over time because people will start to write books, as we're seeing with Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. We'll certainly see and hear what was going on in the White House. I mean, it goes as far as saying, and I sort of briefly alluded to that if he was going to win re-election, he might need a wheelchair after he was elected.
But it sounds like
wanted
that was more
to avoid
of a
that.
physical thing than a mental thing.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. But still, the sight of a president in a wheelchair, that's going to give people pause. Those who are deciding to vote for him, which never was going to happen. They were going to put him in a wheelchair, trust me. Or even after, if he had been reelected, and he's said in some of his recent appearances, he thinks he would have beat Trump in that election.
That is the part when he said that on The View. It was just like the male ego knows no party. That was just so frustrating. But oh yeah, I still would have won. It's like, sit down. No, you wouldn't have. Go retire and sit on a beach.
So it's a rehabilitation tour of sorts for the former president and vice president. So that's the old side of Democrats. The young side, are you high on Hogg? We're gonna have that conversation after the break. David Hogg is who we're talking about. She is Kristin. I'm Steve. It is Point Taken right here on 620 WTMJ. Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handled all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
The legendary Ringo Starr is bringing his all-star band, featuring Steve Lukather from Toto, Men at Work's, Colin Hay, and Hamish Stewart of Average White Band, back to Milwaukee, September 12th, performing at the Miller High Life Theater. 61 years after the Beatles performed in Milwaukee in 1964. We will be giving away one pair of tickets each hour on What's on Tap with me, Sandy Max, this week, Wednesday and Thursday. Tune in for your chance to win. Tickets go on sale starting Friday, May 16th at PabstTheaterGroup.com.
The 2015 Wisconsin men's hoops team gave us all a march to remember.
There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game.
On June 26th, enjoy an intimate celebration with the stars of the run with Made 'em Believe. Presented by M3 Insurance. World-class expertise and individual attention. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe. June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
All right, mark your calendars. This Saturday, May 17th, the Brewers are hosting the Twins at American Family Field. And the giveaway for that day is a WTMJ Brewers cribbage board. Yes, the first 25,000 fans at the ballpark will get this really cool custom cribbage board. And in order to get that board, you've got to go to the game. And we're giving away tickets to this Saturday's game right now. Be caller number 5, and you will win yourself a pair of tickets to the Brewers game when they take on the Twins on Saturday, May 17th at 6:15 p.m. First pitch is when the first pitch is. We hope to see you there because that is also WTMJ Day. We're going to be there tailgating all day. So yeah, 855-616-1620. Be nice to producer Jazz. Caller number 5 gets a pair of tickets.
And we will be on the field before the game.
I know.
It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I get to. So you're going to be on the field with me, but I'm the one who gets.
I get to hold your hand as you throw your first pitch,
I hopefully do not embarrass myself. That was actually the other thing we did for Mother's Day. Mike and I went out and start throwing the ball a little bit.
How's the old arm feeling?
It was fine.
Good.
It was fine.
Again, don't throw it as hard as you think you should throw it, because that's my advice.
It's not. Yeah, not. I'm not gonna. My step follow through.
I did it like 5 years ago, I think, was when I.
And you
did
were
it.
fine.
Yeah, I didn't try to throw hard, but I used to do it for all the high school teams. They always would invite me to the opening day, and I try to throw it hard then because I was a pitcher in Little League and stuff. I love that stuff.
All right. Well, let's hope I don't get nervous. Let's
all
hope
right.
that I prove that I'm was once an athlete.
I think you'll be fine.
I think I'll be fine.
I'm sure the crowd will go wild. Just seeing us will probably go wild. It's WTMJ day at the ballpark.
Now I got to think about what I'm going to wear.
Well, you should be wearing some WTMJ gear would be my first.
Brewers or WTMJ gear?
I think it's WTMJ gear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think read the internal memos on that stuff. But
All right. Make sure.
All right. So you love to bring up the topic of David Hogg.
I don't love you say this. I don't. It's not like I'm like a stand for David Hogg. I think it's an interesting conversation that is being had inside of the Democratic Party right now as far as how to move forward.
Are they a mess?
It seems like it.
I think so.
And so I think what's interesting about this is, he ran for vice chair. So for people unfamiliar, David Hogg, Parkland shooter survivor, activist, now 25.
His dad was an FBI agent.
Like very, I would say whether you like him or not, he's an impressive guy, right? As far
Smart
as,
guy.
being 25 and being able to do your own on like Jake Tapper's show.
Very confident.
Go toe-to-toe with James Carville, all these different things. So he runs for vice chair. He wins. Almost as soon as he wins, he starts talking about with this other group called Leave Us. What's the group called?
His group?
He has a last month Leaders We Deserve,
Yes.
co-founded with Kevin Latta. And so talking about primarying other Democrats. Now there's one side of this that is, all right, well, if you want to do that, go do that. That is not the role of the vice chair of the national party. And if that was your intention, that's fine. You just can't do both. There's also the conversation of Democrats being more responsive to what voters want. And some of that is not having kind of just corporate-owned Democrats sitting in safe seats who are do-nothing, uninspiring people, and they're probably adding to the reason why Democrats have such a low approval rating right now. So there's that conversation that needs to be had. And now the news as of this week is the headlines is that he's getting ousted. But in reality, it's on this like procedural technicality that comes through.
It wasn't just him. It was two people.
It's two people. And it's basically some procedural thing that happened as far as the DNC's bylines, as far as equal opportunity for there to be
bylaws,
yes. Sorry, for there to be gender parity.
Right.
And they're basically re-voting for vice chair.
Mm-hmm.
And, is this a loophole to get him out and just this poor other guy is getting brought down with him? Is there actually concern over gender parity at the leadership level for the DNC? I think at this point he should just go do his Leaders We Deserve party because that seems what he's most passionate about. Though there does seem to be a need for some innovation at the DNC.
Yeah, I think two things. One, I don't think he's going to survive if he decides to run again. That he's going to be a vice chair. He's not going to win that election because I think many people want him out for whatever reason they're choosing, whether it's procedural or some of the other things that he's talked about, which is ousting people that have been serving Democrats and Democratic interests for a long time. He might not like them. They may be much older than him because that's sort of this ageism thing, part of this as well. Look, I wish him well. He's a smart guy. On gun violence, he has a lot to say, having survived what he survived and lived that story. But at the end of the day, Democrats have to figure out what they're going to be and how. And, we'll probably talk a lot about populism on Friday with Bill and Joe because Donald Trump's winning the populist war right now. Democrats have to figure out how to do that. They're not doing that right now.
Well, did you see this message from Josh Hawley? Basically saying the same thing.
Yes.
And he said it's time for his colleagues to choose either corporate execs or American workers. And that's what I do feel like there is like a shift happening as far as, and this is not the first time we've seen this, right? Democrats were the people who voted, the Southern Democrats were not very excited about the Civil Rights Act. And so are we seeing a shift in Republicans and conservatives as far as what they care about when it comes to the working class?
It's up for grabs. Interesting time that we're living in right now. Politics is changing. Parties are changing on both sides and for different reasons. And maybe it's the Trump effect. Maybe it's the Hogg effect. I don't know. We got to take another break here. We get to the bottom of the hour news, of course. Lots more show. I hear Chef Becker's in the building. Lots of excitement as well. That's next.
The leader in the dugout, the skipper, the man who riles up the crew with his words of inspiration.
You mean my old ass? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's our guy. Brewers manager Pat Murphy joins Wisconsin's Morning News every Tuesday at 8:45 for Brewers 360.
We're a team that the other team's going to feel us. You know, you're not going to walk away from a series and not be felt. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Badger Fence. Yes, Badger Fence. They installed a beautiful cedar fence about 5 years ago now. I love that fence. Look at it every day when I go out in my beautiful backyard. They've been installing high-quality, durable fences in the area since, get this, 1945. Proud member of the Better Business Bureau, A-plus rating. Doesn't get any better than that. As well as a member of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Privacy, security, wide choice of fence styles. That's the things you should be thinking about for your fence, for your property. I chose Badger Fence. You should too. They're licensed, bonded, insured, using the best materials in the industry. We love talking about our fence, and ours is wood, but you can go ornamental, chain link, even PVC. Some amazing styles now. They can help you choose the right materials for your fencing project. And when it comes to quality, they are unmatched in the industry and at the most competitive prices. We love our new wood fence. And when Kathy and I were shopping around, we found the right match with Badger Fence. Set up an appointment to talk with Badger Fence about your project. Go to badgerfence.com. Tell them Scaffidi from WTMJ sent you.
Burkhart Sporting Goods has a great reputation for producing custom team apparel. We're total team outfitters and we can handle the biggest jobs. Our success in custom team apparel led us into group and corporate apparel. Plus, we have a full selection of promotional products for employee gifts, special events, you name it. And we've made it easy for our customers to firm up their orders. The group sale web stores that we build for our customers are a simple way of gathering all the information you need. They're easy to work, easy to understand, and with them you'll have access to nearly limitless options. We've seen that most times we're better priced than our competition on the same high-quality apparel choices that the other guys offer. Plus Nike and Under Armour choices that the other guys can't get. And we offer a huge brand selection from Yeti, North Face, and Carhartt too. This is Brian Burkhart. For team, group, or corporate custom outfitting and promotional products, it's going to be really hard to beat our prices, selection, and ease of buying for any size budget and every size company. And that's why we always say,
you can't beat Burkhart.
New Berlin and Fox Point.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
All right, we talked so much in the first half hour. We got a great guest coming up, Chef Michael Thacker. We're going to talk about something that Chef and I haven't talked about before, and it's some of the initiatives around the purity and the healthiness of our food supply. Yeah, and I think he's got a lot to say about that. So we're going to talk about that and the actions of our federal government in that area and concerns that the chef has about all of that.
It's my first time meeting Chef Thacker.
Oh, you'll never forget him once you meet him. All right, so we got local news coming up with the one and the only Greg Matzek. Before we get to any of that, here's the latest now from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Elon Musk, one of the many tech moguls in Saudi Arabia with President Trump right now. Musk was asked to display some of his innovations, including the Optimus robot today. The president and the crown prince got a close-up look at it during a demonstration. Sean Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, has taken the witness stand in his sex trafficking trial after prosecutors showed video of the music mogul beating her in a hotel in 2016. Kim Kardashian on the stand in the trial of several men who allegedly tied her up and stole millions of dollars worth of jewelry from her in her Paris hotel room 9 years ago.
She says that this all happened in the middle of the night around 2-3 a.m. and 5 masked armed men broke into her room. They were dressed as police. She was just in her bathrobe. She says they bound her, gagged her, held her at gunpoint, revealing there were 2 guns, one at her neck, one on her back.
ABC's Maggie Rulli at the foreign desk. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:31, 60 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee. From the WTMJ Breaking News Room, I'm Greg Matzek. Identifying the victims of a deadly Mother's Day fire. 5 people died, including a 76-year-old, 67-year-old, a 62-year-old, a 40-year-old, and an unidentified victim. The names of the victims have not yet been released. 6 others taken to local hospitals, including a 1-year-old child. 1 person remains in critical condition. First responders rescued about 30 individuals from the Highland Court Apartments early Sunday morning. Milwaukee Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky says the residential area of the building did not have sprinklers or standpipes. A small fire closes the student center at MATC's downtown campus. Water from putting out the fire caused some damage, prompting the closure. All the remaining buildings are open on campus. The cause of that fire is unknown. And committed to working together, the Milwaukee Police Department and Froedtert Hospital releasing a joint statement reaffirming their partnership. This comes after an on-duty Milwaukee police officer was turned away from a Froedtert Fast Care clinic in April while carrying a service weapon. Froedtert clarified that it never had a policy to delay care or create obstacles for law enforcement. MPD recognized that a staff policy misunderstanding played a role in this instance. The statement comes after about 24 Republican state lawmakers called for Froedtert to review its policies, condemning the health system for what they called indefensible denial of care. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Some mixed results here this morning. The Dow currently down about 150 points at 42,286. The NASDAQ is up about 300 points, just under the 19,000 mark. And the S&P 500 up about 50 today at 5893. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads, a WTMJ Time Saver traffic update. You are on the brakes here. Southbound on 41, Good Hope to the Zoo interchange, about a 6-minute delay. Delays start just a little bit south of 175. It'll run all the way through Capitol Drive and get a little closer to Brey and North Avenue. Northbound, not quite as significant of a delay, about a 3-minute delay if you are working your way northbound from the Zoo interchange to Highway Q, and your delays start a little after Watertown Plank, about North Avenue, let's call it, up to Silver Spring. Well, some morning fog and morning rain starting to work its way out of the area. It's going to stay cloudy, however, with highs topping out about 75 degrees inland, mid-60s if you're closer to the lake. Scattered showers possible tonight. Tomorrow's high also in the mid-70s. Right now it's 66 degrees in Waukesha, 68 in Green Bay, and 59 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik, Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:34.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. For more than 8 years, QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. You heard that right, non-surgical relief. More than 50,000 patients who had knee pain, back pain, now living pain-free. Those with shoulder and hip pain, it's gone. The regenerative cell therapy restores tissues in your achy joints. Dr. Caravelli's team uses biologic growth factors with robust healing properties carefully and strategically placed in your joint. And there's no surgery. Remember that. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing the old tissue. Here's what you do. You call today, 414-285-3474, 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Looking for a getaway with fantastic outdoor recreation? Sheboygan is a perfect destination. Hike or bike through Kohler Andre State Park and other local parks. There are all kinds of water sports, including surfing, paddleboarding, and kayaking. Sheboygan's walkability takes you to South Pier. Visit shops, play mini golf, and enjoy fine dining. Shop their farmers market and take in live music. It's the Malibu of the Midwest. Plan your getaway today at visitsheboygan.com.
It's WTMJ's Brandon Snyde for Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. With summer just around the corner, Wisconsin Harley-Davidson is gearing up for another year of riding adventures. Join them May 17th for their annual Bikes, Blessings, and the VFW. Start the summer off with a bike blessing on May 24th. Their annual honor celebration is happening with a ride to Wisconsin Memorial Park to place flags to honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Both events will have live music, food, and so much more. For more information, go to WISHD.com or follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, it's been a while for me, and Kristin just met him for the first time. Chef Michael Fecker, you know him from Il Mito, Teca, Zesty, his great restaurants, great food. We've talked about a lot of fun stuff, and food is certainly one of those fun things. But the reason I wanted to have you in today, and Kristin's enthusiastic and said, yeah, we got to get him in. You're talking about food safety, the health and safety of all of us who consume food, and challenges for restaurants. And the big picture story is our government may be saying the right thing, but not doing the right thing.
Oh, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Steve.
First of all, you got the best voice on radio.
Right?
Out of the gates.
Thank you.
There you go.
Well, one of the things that is so important is we have been talking about these things. There is a lot of talk going on, especially now recently. It is not doable for us to gut things and then try to fix them. Let's sit down, let's figure out what needs to be fixed. And to be honest with you, if I was sitting and I had the pleasure of speaking to the president or advising the president, Mr. President, make this based on performance. If the FDA does this, and this, they get funded. If not, there shouldn't be any funding, those kind of things.
Let me baseline it. Are you worried about food safety, given the sort of the pullback from the ability of government agencies to sort of monitor these things?
Absolutely. They already, some of them don't monitor the way they should monitor anyway. And we little guys don't have the lobbyists and the power in Congress to say what we need to say. Steve, let's go back just for a moment. If we really care and we really want to correct things, let's go back to our biggest asset that are our children. How can we feed a child with $1.75 per meal per day in a public school and then expect us as adults to think healthy? It starts from the beginning. You cannot plant the seed that is rotten and expect to have a tree full of fruit that is going to be magnificent. So our children are important. The way we feed ourselves as a society is important. This go thing is important. And all of these things are based not only on federal government, also on state and local.
Because largely, when we're talking about RFK Jr., we're talking about the MAHA movement as far as make America healthy again. Do you feel like there's a focus on the wrong things? Because I know a lot of that movement is about chemicals in our foods, like the red dye and different things as far as the big food lobbyists and what they're actually putting in our food. And is that the wrong thing to be focused on if we're actually investing in making children healthier?
No, you're absolutely right. It's not. I feel it is not the wrong thing to be focused on.
It's not the wrong thing.
It is not. But there are many other things that we have to focus on before we get to that focus. We cannot just, again, I mentioned something. You cannot just spray the branches of a tree and expect it to be doing fine. If the roots are sick, we got to fix the roots of the problem. There's a much bigger issue here that the lobbyists, again, have the opportunity to do and talk about, and that is, I got to make food shelf stable. To be able to make food shelf stable, you have to fill it with preservatives. So how do we fight that? Because I know you, myself, Steve, all of us as parents and as community members, we want our children, ourselves, and our friends to eat pure and healthy. But we don't. We just don't do that.
And it's just because of convenience and affordability?
Well put. Absolutely. Well, you couldn't be more perfect. We have...
You can stop there. I couldn't be more.
Yeah, I know. No. You are. We have about 17 million of us live in food deserts. Yeah. There's a reason that food deserts exist. The reason is that the person that is supposedly going to open a supermarket there can survive because their food goes bad. The people that live within that food desert don't know how to cook many of those fresh ingredients, so they get satisfied with a bag of Doritos and some Coca-Cola.
He is Chef Michael Fecker joining us for this half hour on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ. After the break, I want to ask you about some of the stories we've seen and heard recently about people getting sick after eating lettuce or produce or fruits, and if that's tied to sort of the pullback from some of the emergency response network proficiency testing program, which you highlighted in your pitch to me, and that challenge to America and our eating habits, whether that's dangerous for our population. More with Chef Fecker, Kristin, and Steve. Point Taken, 620 WTMJ. After this.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Fox World Travel. My dream, my 50th state's going to happen in November of 2026. Inviting you to join us. We're already halfway full, but there's still room for you. All you fans, listeners to this program or all my shows, you can join us in Hawaii. We're going to do the 3-island of Oahu, Hawaii, Maui. We'll, of course, visit Pearl Harbor, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and a coffee plantation, which I know my friend Julie's very excited about. We'll enjoy a luau on the Big Island, visit the Maui Aquatic Center. It's active itinerary, but you know what? We even built in free days. You can hang out by the pool. You can do your own excursions. You can do whatever you want. You can shop. I know a lot of people love to shop on their trips. And we're going to do something fun. I'm going to get my first tattoo. Very excited about it. My first tattoo celebrating.
I want to see it.
Chef Becker says he wants to see it. Well, you'll see it when it's on me. You want to find out about this great trip, go to 866-GO-FOX-GO. Call right now, 866-GO-FOX-GO. This trip will sell out. All my trips do. Or you can find it on my show page at WTMJ.com. There's a great early booking discount. Trust me. Best of Hawaii with yours truly, Steve Scaffidi. Call today, Fox World Travel. Yes, come with me.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. Get your aches and pains under control. But not only that, regular care with Connect Chiro can bring back your energy. A lot of folks start with headaches, back pain, and shoulder pain. How quickly you see results varies from person to person, but time and repetition are the key to staying on track. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. Connect Chiro docs use a special tool for all your adjustments, targeted results, and a gentler experience. Check out the new location in Oak Creek or get started at GoConnectChiro.com.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geiss's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield. Or you can also visit their online showroom at GeissDoors.com. Geiss has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geiss at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geiss. Visit them online at GeissDoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
Always fun to talk to our friend Chef Michael Fecker, local restaurateur. We're going to get to them on restaurant stuff as well, but I see these stories and reports. It's almost every day now. People are getting sick from something, whether it's lettuce or fruits or whatever. And I know there's been some cuts, certainly at the federal government level. We know about DOGE and this quest for efficiency, which I support, but done in the right way, which you mentioned at the open. Mm-hmm. Are you concerned that sort of the cutbacks in some of these testing programs that sort of keep our food supply safe are just going to make that storyline even more common and frankly, our health worse?
I think so. I mean, if you think about it, yes, there are going to be less eyes looking at, less ears hearing what is going on. But at the local level, we need to make up for some of those things that are going to be missing. Because I assure you, the lettuce that you got sick on was picked in California. It was not picked at the federal government in Washington, D.C. So we got to focus on these little things ourselves. Right now, I had the chance to speak to Senator Baldwin's office the other day just about that. What do we do as locals? Because locally, we are dying. We really need help in my industry. Steve, I haven't seen anything like this except the pandemic.
Really?
It's been tremendous. The amount of it's backbreaking to a certain point.
Do you mean financially, or do you mean because the food that you're getting it's not up to code?
No, financially and business wise. And I tell you, right now I was with my one of my vendors speaking yesterday. Frozen fish. I don't use frozen fish, but there are many entities that have fish fry. We are known for our fish fry in this state. Just went up 37% in one day. In one day. So imagine of those people that use that for business. Vegetable and commodities are constant. China is the largest exporter of asparagus. Asparagus prices are ridiculous right now. Garlic, for example. Why do we buy garlic from China and not from California? That I don't understand. But just numbers are crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Do you think the tariff thing is sort of part of this story?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Québécois is a veal company out of Quebec, Canada. Majority of our veal comes from Canada. Can't find it. You can't get your hand on one piece of veal. So, of course, our Strauss friends from out of here, Wisconsin, they have some, but they only have so much. What are you going to do? I had another gentleman the other night. Chef, your lamb shank doesn't taste the same. Yeah, because New Zealand and Australia lamb shank is a lot milder because of the grass that they eat. Local lamb shank that is mainly from Colorado has a completely different gamey flavor. So you're right, because it's not the same lamb shank. Now, I don't pay less for that. I pay a lot more. But also I have my customer that is used to one flavor and doesn't get it. So it's going to be, this ripple effect is constant. It's going to happen and is not going to stop right away.
So that's specifically talking about tariffs. What have you heard or what have you seen as far as immigrant labor? Because I know, obviously, we know immigrants work on our dairy farms. They're picking the produce in California. Has that impacted prices at all as far as people not showing up to work or like the increase in deportations?
The fear is so interesting you bring that up, because the fear in their eyes and in their attitude and everything you can feel. But again, when I was talking about this ripple effect of the tariff and the economy, the unknowns and everything that's going on, their hours are getting cut because my customers are not there. So we don't have enough food to cook. So we cut the hours of the cooks. Bartender doesn't go home with the same amount of tips that they were used to. The server doesn't have enough money to pay their bills. On and on and on it happens. At this time in my entities, thank God, and it's the grace of God that I'm able to do that, I am picking up some of those things. I'm not passing it on to my employees. But how long can you sustain this? As far as the fear within the immigrant labor, it's out there. It's absolutely huge. Very, very much so. It affects my industry. It affects fruit, vegetables, and everything else that we deal with.
And it's always been challenging to get good employees.
That's right.
So this is even another barrier to having people just to do the work in your restaurants.
That's right. When this happened, at the beginning, we all thought that our president is going to mainly focus on people that truly didn't belong here. Look, you did us wrong. You got to get out of here. But it's not about that right now. Everybody is just afraid. They're afraid, like what they're going to happen if they're at the stoplight.
Chef Michael Fecker joining us for one more segment after this. It's Kristin and Steve on Point Taken. Let's focus on the restaurant business, because a lot of us in Milwaukee love to go out to eat. Challenging times, as you've talked about. We'll explore that in a little more detail with Chef Michael Fecker after this on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
We understand it's getting harder for you to find new employees. That's why we recommend using broadcast media to our clients to help find them. And you know what? It works. For years, we've used it, and over we fill job fairs and keep a steady new flow of employees for some pretty important clients. Broadcast advertising works for employee recruitment. But with our market leverage, you'll get a lot more for your money than you'll get on your own. Anderson-Smith.com. We help businesses find new employees.
Anybody out there like political ads? I already know your answer, and it's because a lot of them are bad. Phony dialogue with the sound effects of a diner in the background, dramatic voiceovers with scary music that changes into happy, hopeful music when the candidate being pushed is described. Whatever happened to an honest pitch from a candidate that doesn't sound like they're reading, but rather expressing their genuine passion to bring about change? Use us and we'll drive that home, and voters will believe you. Anderson-Smith.com. We will help you win in the next election.
Jake suffered with carpal tunnel syndrome.
Tingling, numbness in my hands and fingers, not sleeping well at night, tossing and turning, trying to manage with pain pills and stretching, and it just wasn't helping.
He didn't want the traditional invasive carpal tunnel surgery.
I had seen people with the bandages and scars and clubs for hands. I just don't have time to be incapable of doing things for 6 to 8 to 10 weeks.
Then he learned about the Ovation Hand Institute and the Ovation Technique, an ultra minimally invasive procedure done in the office.
I wanted to get it looked at sooner than later. So I had the virtual consult. It was very thorough as far as like I was sitting in a doctor's office. I was booked for the procedure 2 weeks later, had my right hand done. Very quick procedure. It was really great. That very night when I went home, it was the first time in probably 3 months my hand did not wake me up.
Book an appointment with the Ovation Hand Institute and find out if you're a candidate for the Ovation Technique.
Probably the most surprising thing was how quickly I was able to do things again. I'm cooking dinner, I'm doing yard work and all that kind of stuff the next day.
Visit ovationhand.com. ovationhand.com.
70 years ago, the Blaine brothers founded Blaine's Farm and Fleet as one of the nation's first retail stores to sell goods at a discount. And we've helped supply Midwest farms and families with quality products at unbeatable prices ever since. Like assorted Milwaukee hand tools, just $14.99. 25-ounce cans of ProZap insect spray, $21.99. Plus, we've lowered our prices throughout the store, so you can find the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
The Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center is here in New Berlin, and it's ready for you and your team. From little leaguers to hardcore players and trainers, this is the place you'll want to be.
You can't beat Burkhart.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on May 20th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Baltimore Orioles.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in May 20th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Well, welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristin. He is Steve, and we are talking to Chef Michael Becker about concerns about our safety when it comes to food and the different decisions that are being made at the federal level, but also the impact that it's having, the tariffs are having, immigration is having on the restaurant business. You said it feels like we're back in COVID times.
It is exactly. You're absolutely right. I haven't seen anything like this after the COVID times or before COVID, of course, but COVID was exactly the same way. We were so uncertain. We didn't know. But that situation wasn't our own doing.
So do you point mostly to the tariffs right now, or what do you feel like is the main culprit for the pain that restaurants are feeling?
The tariffs is just one of the components.
Okay.
I believe the market uncertainty and not being able to get your hands on things due to the fact that, like I said, we got started fighting with Canada, for example. Mm-hmm. Canada said, you know what, you do this, I'm going to do that. So it's that constant back and forth between these different countries that the tariffs have brought on. And I got to deal with it. As I was telling you before we went to break, I called my meat purveyor to order some veal for a special that I was going to do. Chef, I have nothing. I have no veal.
Wow.
Because I can't get it. I used to buy from Canada because I had to give you a choice as a customer. I don't have it anymore.
One of the questions that some customers are asking about is the decision by some restaurant operators and owners to charge a tariff tax or a premium on the meal based on the higher costs of the products used to make those meals. Is that something you've ever thought about?
No.
You don't pass it on?
No, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense because, first of all, my customer comes in and also they want a good deal and they want to appreciate what I do. And for me to change my pricing and do it in a way that now there's a tariff tax like eggs. You remember an egg the tax? Basically, I'm going to charge you 30 cents
Denny's
more.
Or Waffle House?
Yeah, right? 30 cents more. It doesn't make sense and it looks tacky. Maybe that's the reason I don't want to do it.
So if you were advising the government right now, and you could maybe break it up into categories as far as one for what would it make the biggest impact on small business restaurant owners versus our food safety, what is some of the policies you would like to see?
I think if the government was listening And if I was able to do so, first of all, when it comes to restaurants, give us a break when it comes to taxes, to unemployment, to whatever it is, to let us breathe a little bit more until this uncertainty is handled. And then when it comes to correcting things, as far as pulling back and gutting department when it comes to food and to everything else that is food and nutrition related, back off for a moment. Sit back, watch, make it contingent upon performance, and fund the ones that we really need, and fine. Get rid of the waste and so-called fraud. But to put this large umbrella over everything, it's fraud, it is waste, we got to get rid of it. It doesn't make sense.
One of the pieces of the big, beautiful budget bill that Kristin and I are going to talk about in the second hour is this no taxes on tips.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a real thing for workers in restaurants and bars?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a real thing. Steve, it is. I love the fact that you asked that question because there are two kinds of tips. There is credit card tips, then there is cash tips. By putting no taxes on tips, your cash tips will be declared as well, if you really want to do it correctly. But up to now, many servers don't do it, for example. But if they do that, that is great. Do you know how much you're going to help a server that's going home with $200, for example, but 15% of that is taxes? That's absolutely fine. Is it going to help me also as the restaurateur? It's a big picture. We got to look at all the different pieces of the pie.
Chef Michael Fecker, we're just getting warmed up. We've got to say goodbye. But you know what? You're going to be back on my podcast in the next couple of weeks. So.
I'm going to miss you anyway. I'm going to miss every one of you at home. Hey, you're listening to me, right? I love you guys. I know you miss me.
What's your favorite spice that we always talk about?
Steve, it's gone international, man. Tajin.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
He's by himself increased our market share in the spice.
You see? Yeah. And I don't get a piece of it. This is a mess.
All right. News is next here on 620 WTMJ. Thanks, Chef.
Be good to yourself, everybody.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. If you've saved in a 401k or IRA, you might think you're set for retirement. But here's something you need to know. Every dollar you withdraw could be taxed. And with rising government debt, future tax hikes could take an even bigger bite out of your savings. Imagine reaching retirement only to realize the IRS is taking more of your money than you expected. It's one of the biggest risks that retirees face, spending their savings without a plan for taxes. And once you're retired, it's often too late to fix it. That's why I want to help you create a tax strategy now so you can keep more of your hard-earned money. At Drake & Associates, we focus on tax-efficient retirement planning, helping you lower your lifetime tax bill and maximize your retirement income. And right now, I'm offering you a free retirement toolkit, plus a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready, to show you how to keep more of your money working for you, not the IRS. Text TAX to 414-897-9522 to claim your free copies. Don't wait until tax rates rise. Start planning today. Text TAX to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you keep more of what you've earned.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
When you hear that air conditioner working overtime, it's already past the time you should have USA Insulation out to the house. Vince Vitrano here. Give that AC unit and your electric bills a break by making a long-term investment that pays you back. USA Insulation is the answer to saving on your heating and cooling costs from day one. Between the heating and cooling season, that's when Jeff and his team have the most room on the schedule. Tell them Vinny sent you. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
What would your community be like without UW-Madison?
The UW is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research. UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just in Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW5 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW, the number 5. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
The Brewers head to Cleveland Town to get them just a bit outside, and then
Kicks the leg, the pitch, curveball called, third strike, ball game over.
our coverage against the Guardians starts today at 4:35 on your home for the Brewers. 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 11:01, it's 59 degrees. Today, scattered showers mostly this morning, and they look like they might not come back. A high of 75. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Tiff Pua. Identifying the victims of a deadly Mother's Day fire. 5 people died, including a 76-year-old, 67-year-old, 62-year-old, 40-year-old, and an unidentified victim. The names of the victims have not been released. 6 others were taken to local hospitals, including a 1-year-old. 1 person remains in critical condition. First responders rescued about 30 people from the Highland Court apartments early Sunday morning.
We're up to 48 ladder rescues. I've never been to a fire in my career where we've had those numbers coming out the windows. That's how punishing this smoke was.
That's Milwaukee Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky, who says this likely would have been a small fire that could have been stopped quickly had there been sprinklers.
People would not have had to make a choice between jumping 4 floors or simply walking out the door, down the hallway, and down the stairs.
This deadly fire also displaced about 100 people. Julia Fellow, WTMJ News.
New information on an armed standoff in the village of Fredonia that ended peacefully after nearly 38 tense hours in the Ozaukee County community.
On the second floor of the 2-story home in Fredonia, Ozaukee County Sheriff Kristin Knowles says a 37-year-old man was armed to the teeth and making threats towards law enforcement.
We knew he had firearms, and there was a lot of firepower in that home.
As for the length of time the standoff took,
I will do everything in my power to make sure I don't have to tell a parent, an officer's wife or husband, that they died because we chose to rush in when we had that threat controlled from the outside.
In Port Washington, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura has taken the witness stand in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Ventura, better known as the R&B singer Cassie, testified that she didn't feel as if she could say no to his request to participate in sex parties because he could be violent and threaten her with blackmail. Prosecutors say his status as a powerful executive to coerce women. He used his status to coerce women into abusive sexual encounters. Lawyers for the 3-time Grammy winner told the jury that Combs could be violent, but he never veered into sex trafficking or racketeering. Committing $500,000 to support Milwaukee Public Schools superintendent. Multiple philanthropic organizations, including the Greater Milwaukee Committee, are earmarking funds to directly support initiatives by Superintendent Dr. Brenda Caselius. Caselius tells WTMJ what the money will be used for.
Mostly around communication, trust building, work, professional development for our staff and our team.
The Greater Milwaukee Foundation will be the financial steward and manager of the fund. On that investment, President of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, Joel Brennan, tells WTMJ.
The superintendent, I expect that she's had conversations out there in the community trying to leverage private resources to help support the work that's going on in the classroom. These are private resources that are never going to touch the inside of any school board meeting or the infrastructure of MPS.
The next audit for MPS's finances will be publicly available in 2 weeks. Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A mixed day on the board so far. Your Dow is down 186 points to 42,224. Your S&P 500 is up 43 points to 5,887. And the NASDAQ is up 270 points to 18,978. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:05.
Spring is in the air, the perfect time to kickstart those home improvement dreams. Hi, Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. They're your local experts in stylish, energy-efficient upgrades. Boost your curb appeal and add real value with top brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. All customized to fit your home and your style. Wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, they've got it all. And their newly remodeled New Berlin showroom is the place to start. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Visit hometownwindows.com today.
Here's to time out on the water in Wisconsin. To living your best life while enjoying the lake life.
Ready?
And getting up on a wakeboard the very first try. Or not. Here's to wearing only swimsuits and wishing this perfect day would never end. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on gallon selected varieties Prairie Farms white or chocolate milk, $3.99. 59 to 64 ounce selected varieties silk milk, 2 for $7. 6 to 9 count selected varieties Blue Bunny novelties, 2 for $7. 10 to 12 ounce or count selected varieties Green Mountain coffee, $5.99.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers. Safe.
Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All sports text. More news for your Packers. The ESPN is reporting that Green Bay will face the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at Lambeau Field on Monday Night Football on November 10th. The NFL also announced that the Packers will play the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field on Saturday, December 20th on Fox. The full NFL schedule will be released tomorrow night. And the Brewers lose the first game of their series against the Cleveland Guardians 5-0. The only highlight was Freddie Peralta collecting his 1,000th career strikeout and becoming only the fourth Brewer ever to reach that milestone. Coverage of Game 2 of the series starts today at 4:35 right here on WTMJ. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic, we have issues on 45 North. It starts at the ramp at Burleigh. The left shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. It is out of traffic, but it is slow moving through there because everybody's looking at it. And the delays are pretty bad. They start at Mayfair Road and they don't clear up until you get past Silver Spring. Just go slow and pack your patience. You will get through there. Oh, and complicating the issues, 45 South at the ramp to Watertown Plank. There's a semi that's off on the shoulder there too. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast today. Scattered showers that are mostly over for the day, a high of 75. Tonight, patchy fog and a little bit milder, a low of 51. For your Wednesday, morning fog and then turning partly cloudy with an opportunity for an isolated shower, a high of 75. For your Thursday, partly cloudy, warm, and a chance of severe storms. They could be strong, a high of 83. Friday, partly cloudy and breezy with a slight chance of rain, a high of 77. And for your Saturday, partly cloudy and breezy, a high of 65. Right now in Madison, it's 65. In Waukesha, it's 68. In Green Bay, it's 71. And in Milwaukee, it's cloudy and 59 degrees. I'm Tiff Pua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:09.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour of Point Taken. And yesterday, Republicans unveiled a sweeping tax bill. So now members of Congress are going to start debating the 389-page bill today.
That seems lighter than the 1,000-plus page ones previously.
How many? Do you think that they actually comb through all of it and read every single line?
That's what they have staff for, who literally highlight. They print this thing. Still using all that paper, all those trees. And then they highlight what that elected official needs to really be paying close attention to. And some probably very quickly skim. Nobody reads the whole thing.
I bet some of them read the whole thing.
Like who?
I don't know. Some of the lawyers.
Glenn Grothman?
Probably not.
No. Tom Tiffany?
I don't know enough about Tom Tiffany. You've actually interviewed him, right?
Wonderful man. I've met him a bunch of times. He's done the show. He wasn't the person I expected because he's a conservative, but he's actually got a well-rounded individual. I had great conversations with him. So he's invited to be on the program whenever he wants, and we'll probably have those individuals on both sides of the aisle as we talk about this bill, because these things are big questions about what happens with taxes. I mentioned with Chef Becker, the no taxes on tips or overtime. Overtime, that's a big one too.
So the overtime thing is interesting to me because I feel like paying 1.5% for overtime was supposed to be built in as a disincentive to overworking your staff, right? And so who really benefits from not taxing overtime? I would imagine to a certain extent, because you're paying taxes on the overtime that you're paying. It's also good for the companies as well, not just the worker who is working overtime.
It's a complex question, right? Because usually you don't have people work overtime unless you need the production, you need the efficiency in your whatever you're producing. But workers can be overburdened, they can be overworked, and that's not good for the health and safety of your employees. You can also, more mistakes can happen when you talk about manufacturing. So it's a complex question. It sounds like it's one of those gimmicky things that presidents and other elected officials say to sort of lure people into endorsing this idea. Here's the reality, though. This 389-page bill, there's slim margins in the House and Senate. There's not a lot of leeway here. And this is a test on Mike Johnson, it's a test on Republican leaders in the Senate. Can you get the votes to make this happen? And the fact that it's referred to as the big, beautiful bill, there's nothing big or beautiful about this bill. It's a lot of money, a lot of cuts, a lot of expenditures. And here's the crazy thing. Even though Republicans and conservatives talked about cutting the deficit and making a balanced budget, this is none of that. None of it. A lot of that stuff's not even funded. They're going to get to it in committees after the fact.
Well, and it's also the thing that, at least from what I can read and what I can understand, is this SALT limit, right? The deductions from. Yeah. So the Republicans representing New York, California, other high state income tax states. I guess to a certain extent, it would be interesting to see where Wisconsin Republicans, because we're kind of like. We're certainly, as someone who lived in California and New York, Wisconsin certainly doesn't have the same taxes as those states do. I remember moving back and getting my first paycheck back, and I was like, oh, this is more money than I'm used to getting. But
there's actually a question. Should we allow people just deduct all of that? You're living in a mansion. Why would I want you to deduct all of that, all those taxes you pay, property tax, state tax? Why would I want you to do that? You can certainly raise the cap, raise the limit.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes,
how much? Because there's some people who want to, because as of right now, if I remember correctly, it's capped at $10,000.
Sounds right, yeah.
And so there's a debate over what the cap should be. And obviously the Republicans representing the high income tax states like California, like New York, would like that cap not to go up.
I bet they would.
And so that could be, when we talk about these thin margins, there's obviously a fair amount, even though those are blue states, when it comes to representatives, there's still a fair amount of Republicans in those states who will be voting on this. And it's something that seems less sexy to talk about than when we're talking about Medicaid cuts and some of these other things that are bigger talking points. This feels drier to talk about state and local tax, like capped income rates. But that could be the thing that makes or breaks this deal.
We got to get to break, and we got a great guest coming up, by the way. My whole thing on this bill, big or beautiful or not, is are you actually going to reduce the federal deficit as a part or byproduct of what you're spending, what you're allocating in the items included in this bill?
And after the bottom of the hour, there is something snuck into this bill.
Oh, yes.
That I want to talk about that has nothing to do with the budget. It has to do with AI.
That's not
true. It always comes back to AI these days.
And it's not term limits either.
It's not term limits either. All right. But when we come back, we're actually going to go back to HHS, vaccines, vaccine hesitation, and where the general feeling is right now across America when it comes to vaccinating for preventable diseases. So stay with us on Point Taken.
Want to stay up to date with the crew?
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Got him with a changeup for strikeout number 1,000 in the career of Freddie Peralta.
Tune in to Brewers Extra Innings with Dominic Cotroneo after every game.
Reaches 1,000 strikeouts, the fastest Brewer ever to reach 1,000 strikeouts in his career. It took him just over 800 career innings.
Or listen anytime on the Brewers All Access podcast feed. We are your home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. Somebody asked me the other day, why should they go to Heiser? And I said, you know what? I've bought cars from them. I've driven some of their great vehicles, all their brands. They have 5 great locations. It's not just about the cars or the service appointments, body shop work, oil changes. It's about the people who work there. And I've met a lot of them, from the owners all the way down to the people who work in the offices, their frontline people, their sales people. They're outstanding. That's why they're number one at customer service, because they actually care about the customer. I've seen it myself, whether it was in a purchase of our Trailblazer for Kathy or me turning in one of my vehicles, my many vehicles over the last 5 years. They care about customer service to the degree that they're always going to ask you how they can help. And that's whether you walk in unannounced or you have an appointment. They'll ask what they can do to help you make that appointment go smooth and easy. And they follow up. And you can see this live in one of their 5 great locations, or you go to Heiser.com where all their vehicles are listed. It's the one reason why they can say every day, and I love saying this as well, today's your day.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of Point Take. And she's Kristin, I'm Steve. Got a great guest, and this is a topic I care a lot about, because I hate misinformation, disinformation, and I'm an advocate for science and more research, not less. Our guest, she's Vice President of the Policy and Advocacy for the Partnership to Fight Infectious Disease, shorter name, PFID. Candace DeMatteis joins us live on the hotline. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So as far as there is new data from the CDC that shows that vaccination rates for kindergartners in Wisconsin is around 85%. Where does that fall as far as national rates? Is that good?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
Wisconsin has one of the lowest rates in the country. Not the lowest, but definitely near the bottom.
But we have been lucky enough that the measles outbreak has not hit us here yet, right?
That's right. There are not any confirmed cases in Wisconsin yet, but unfortunately with those low vaccination rates and the spread we're seeing, it may just be a matter of time.
So the big question for me is, why this distrust in vaccination? It's clearly over the last, I don't know how many, maybe 100 years, maybe a little less than that, it's worked to eliminate disease and prevent people from suffering when they didn't need to. And for school children, it was part of the routine going to school all the way through university level. What's this distrust about?
Well, there are many, many reasons for the growing distrust and just vaccine hesitancy and outright, skepticism. And, it can get pretty vitriol with some people. But I think a lot of it, if you think about it, is that vaccines have been so successful. The MMR vaccine, which protects against measles, mumps, and rubella, has been out since 1971, so long history, 97% effective at preventing measles with 2 doses. So we haven't seen measles like people in older generations did see and experience. And it's easy to discount how serious these diseases are because we just don't have that experience. So that's part of it as well, is that we downplay the significance of the disease because we just haven't experienced it. And then that allows disinformation about safety and the very safe profile of these vaccines, but it allows that misinformation to get in and create that skepticism and doubt.
And so does the timeline as far as the skepticism and doubt, especially, the big one right now, again, with RFK Jr., is trying to continue to, I know it's been debunked, but the suspicion of vaccines and the increase of amount of how many vaccines children get now and linking that to the higher rates of autism. I know that's been debunked, but is there any fear that people should have when they're having vaccines that is like the kernel of where this started from?
You're right in saying that there have been a number of studies that have looked at this because people took it very seriously when it first came out that there may be something here. science swept in, investigated, and confirmed that there is no causal link between vaccination and specific vaccines like the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine or vaccinations generally, and comparing vaccinated populations to unvaccinated populations. The prevalence of autism was the same. It is important to know that autism spectrum disorder and what we consider autism today is much different than we did, decades ago. The diagnosis criteria has gotten much better. We're able to recognize it. It is a spectrum. So it's not just there's severe autism and then there are less severe autism. And it can present differently in different people. So our ability to understand autism, to diagnose it, to get people services and the supports that they need has also changed over time. But I think, sometimes people can conflate growth in the number of vaccine preventable diseases and the vaccines that are available to prevent them, and growth in the diagnosis and the criteria in terms of prevalence of autism.
Is there a place where people can go to see what's in a vaccine? Because that's another one of these these myths that circulate around, that there's, aborted fetuses or pieces of aborted fetuses. And that's sort of is perpetuating this, vast conspiracy theory across the internet. Is there a place where people can go see what's in the vaccines that their children are getting?
Yes, there are great websites that have that information that are very credible. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, is one. There is a Children's Hospital of Philadelphia that has done a lot of vaccine research. They have a lot of information as well. And the aborted fetus statement is absolutely false. And so there is data that, can help people who have that question answer that question.
So as far as what we've seen work when it comes to making people feel better, or it's basically once someone's kind of down the line of thinking of being skeptical about vaccines, not wanting to get their children vaccinated, do we know what works as far as persuading them?
We've done some polling work, as have others, and where people really trust, and it makes sense when you think about it, is their personal health care provider.
Okay.
So who is someone that you trust to treat to help you with prevention, to treat any ailments you may have, who knows you, and also knows the medical science behind the vaccines and other medicines that you may need, or, treatments that you may need, or preventive care you may need. And so that's what we suggest, is that if you do have questions are perfectly legitimate. You should ask questions. Ask your healthcare provider, and he or she will make the recommendations, knowing you, knowing your history, knowing your risks. And that's what polling says, that people really do trust their personal health care provider.
Candace DeMatteis joining us. She's Vice President of Policy and Advocacy for the Partnership to Fight Infectious Diseases, also known as PFID. The texter asked the same question I was going to ask, so I'm just going to read it. My daughter has her first newborn, 7 weeks, and she's terrified measles will be in Wisconsin before she can start measles vaccination at 12 months. Thoughts on that?
She's right to be concerned, and I feel for her. I have some babies in our family as well, and I'm nervous about them too. Now, where there are measles outbreaks, you can check in with your pediatrician. There are ways to where they're in West Texas, where there is a massive outbreak. Some pediatricians are able to vaccinate children earlier. Now, not at 6 weeks; it's more like six months or so. The current recommendation is at 13 months, so right after a year. But the other thing is just to avoid exposure, making sure people that are around your child are vaccinated. Make sure you know if you have older children and they have friends over, what their vaccination status is. There are ways that you can minimize those risks, because people who are immune, who have been vaccinated, or if you're an older adult, maybe you had measles as a child and you have that immunity, just making sure that you can, kind of create that bubble, if you will help protect the younger and the more vulnerable people who are not vaccinated or cannot get vaccinated.
Candace, I only have a minute, but I wanted to give you a chance. If people want more information on the truth about vaccines and the truth about the science, where can and where should they go?
So there are multiple sources. One, I mentioned the CDC. If people want to get more Wisconsin-specific information, the Wisconsin Department of Health is a great resource.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This was very enlightening, and think it's information that we can't hear enough.
Well, thank you for taking the time to share it. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Candace. We'll take a quick break here. Kristin and Steve, point taken, 620 TMJ.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on May 20th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Baltimore Orioles.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in May 20th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
It's Steve Scaffidi from WTMJ. Advent, love talking about them. They changed my life. They can change yours as well. Sleeping, or probably more specifically not sleeping, that's a problem. I kept my poor wife Kathy up. I was a snorer. Very common problem. You know what? When you snore, you have other issues, and you probably are not getting a good night's sleep, and you probably wake up tired, and tired on the radio is not a good thing, trust me. So I went to Advent. Before I ever was a spokesperson, I was a customer and a client, and I went to Advent and asked the questions. They put me at ease. They answered all my questions, and they found out for me, by adding in a simple sleep study at home in my own bed, that my problem was a common problem: sinuses, nasal passages, breathing triangle. After a short procedure in one of their great offices, I'm back to breathing better than ever, sleeping through the whole night. I can't tell you how great that feels when you fall asleep naturally and you wake up rested and refreshed after 7 or 8 hours of sleep. That's the recipe for a happy life and a happy wife if you have a bed partner. So here's what you need to do. If you struggle like I used to, find out how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights and your life better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
I'm Monica Kessler.
Monica makes sure that everything at Kessler's is worthy of a lifetime warranty.
The quality of your ring is incredibly important when it comes to diamond setting, ring sizing, and repairs.
Monica has been part of Kessler's since she was 6 years old.
Let me tell you how to judge the quality of the jewelry you're buying.
It's easier than you think.
All you have to do is read the warranty.
Most stores offer a 5-year warranty, but Kessler's offers a lifetime warranty, the strongest in the world.
We can do it because we put more gold in your jewelry.
When a jeweler wants to make a bigger profit, they put less gold into the jewelry. This makes it thinner and easier to break.
Theirs might look like ours at first glance, but Kessler's jewelry is made not to break, and that takes more gold.
We give you a lifetime warranty because our jewelry is made to last forever, just like your love.
Gold is more than $2,000 an ounce.
Kessler's gives you more gold, a lot more gold.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses, all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopco Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
All right, Steve, we only have about a minute and a half before we have to go to ABC News and local headlines. But have you ever tipped more because you're like, well, they're getting taxed on it, so I better tip them a little bit more?
No, I generally overtip, which I love the fact. I was a bartender for a lot of years, did it as a part-time job, and I appreciated each and every tip that I got. And if you're good at bartending, you can make a lot of money in tips. So unless I have absolutely horrific service, which hasn't happened to me in 20 plus years, I'm going to overtip and I'm going to be generous with the tip because I think that's the least we can do.
I asked because someone on the text line was said, if tips aren't taxed, perhaps customers will tip less. And I was like, I don't think that's how the psychology of tipping works.
Don't overthink it, and don't be a miser. You know, one of these people that like you're counting the pennies on the tip.
I also am a big fan of just getting rid of tips, like the tipping economy in general,
if you go to UK,
and just
tip.
actually pay people a living wage and bake that into the cost of goods versus
go to Europe,
leaving it up to individual customers and whether or not someone's going to be able to make enough money.
Yeah,
so that's how I'm not big on. I tip well, but I would prefer to live in a place where our services
world. Yeah, okay. I get you. All right, we got local news coming up with Tip Pua, and now the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Saudi Arabia, President Trump addressing leaders at the Saudi-U.S. Investment Forum. The president says Saudi Arabia's role in joining the peace accords with Israel could help bring lasting peace after decades of Iran's destabilizing tactics.
It's my fervent hope, wish, and even my dream that Saudi Arabia, a place I have such respect for, especially over the last fairly short period of time, what you've been able to do, but we'll soon be joining the Abraham Accords. I think it'll be a tremendous tribute to your country.
It is day 2 of witness testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial in New York. His former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, testifying today. Jurors yesterday saw the hotel surveillance video of Combs allegedly assaulting Ventura. Despite concerns over tariffs and the economy, Americans not cutting back on Memorial Day travel. AAA says 3% more people will drive this holiday than last year. Just under 2% more will fly. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:31. I'm Tiff Pua. An update for the Milwaukee real estate agent accused of running a sex ring out of his home. 39-year-old Austin Chronister faces 6 new felony charges, including human trafficking, secondary sexual assault, strangulation, and domestic abuse. Chronister could face up to 25 years in jail for this new set of charges alone. He's due back in court on June 20th. A man dies after falling off his bicycle near the Root River Parkway. Greendale police responded around 7:45 Monday night near Grange Avenue and Parkview Road. They found the man unresponsive near his bike, who died despite life-saving measures. Police do not expect foul play. And bond is set for a suspended Milwaukee police officer charged with firing his gun out of a moving vehicle. Bashan Young must report to the Milwaukee County Jail for booking and release on $5,000 bond for 1 count of endangering safety by use of a dangerous weapon in a school zone. He's accused of firing shots towards homes near 23rd and Burleigh in the middle of the night 3 years ago. If convicted, Young could face 17 years in prison. Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. Still a mixed bag on the boards today. Your Dow is down 196 points to 42,209, but your S&P 500 is up 48 points to 5,892, and the Nasdaq is up 309 points to 19,017. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still the same issues as the last half hour. 45 north at the ramp from Burleigh. The left shoulder is blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Now, it is off the side of the road, but everybody is watching, so the delays are pretty bad. They start as far back as Mayfair Road and don't clear up until you get past Silver Spring. So pack your patience. It is moving. You just got to go through there slowly. And no, on 45 south at the ramp to Watertown Plank, there's a semi off on the right shoulder there as well. Be safe, everyone. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, scattered showers in the morning. They're all out of our area and they're passing through the Madison area right now, a high of 75. Tonight, patchy fog and mild, a low of 51. For Wednesday, morning fog and then turning partly cloudy with a chance of an isolated shower, a high of 75. For your Thursday, partly cloudy, warm, a chance of storms late, and some of them could be strong, a high of 83. For your Friday, partly cloudy, breezy, and a slight chance of rain, a high of 77. And for your Saturday, partly cloudy and breezy, a high of 65. Right now in Mukwonago, it's 70. In Lomira, it's 67. And in Milwaukee, it's cloudy and 59 degrees. I'm Tiff Bua. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
You'll find that the licensed and certified electricians from Quality are top-notch. We've been around for over 60 years, so expect nothing but the best. And here's the kicker. With over 60 vehicles out there on the roads, you're not going to have to wait very long at all for the electrical service you need now. This is Anthony Zanevsky. For all your residential electrical needs, call Quality.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. At Quality, we offer the most respected brand names in heating and air conditioning. Armstrong and Carrier. It doesn't get any better. And our technicians are top-notch. I know, because I handpicked every one of them. They're vetted and thoroughly trained. Hey, they're the cream of the crop. And that's why our quality workmanship guarantee is the strongest in the business.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Your Pella experience starts with a free in-home consultation.
It was a really comfortable kitchen table chat. We knew Pella was going to get it right the first time, and they designed a project with us. They didn't just replace our windows and doors.
There are so many options that are available, so it was nice to have someone narrow those down, and they made sure that the design was what we wanted.
Don't wait. Get 0% financing for up to 6 years. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 5/31/2025. I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Oh, yes. Rocking it on a Tuesday. It's rocking, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, like a little swing to it.
I want to see who this is now because I can't tell at this moment.
Who is this, Jess?
The Hoosiers.
The Hoosiers. Don't know that
Don't
group.
know that group. But I like it.
Thanks for tuning in. That's Tuesday. She's Kristin. I'm Steve. It's Point Taken PT, as I like to call it. And we're going to have shirts made at some point. Or maybe a mug.
Oh, yeah. Maybe because we'll have our next episode of You Need to Listen. It's coming out Thursday. Should we be twins and wear our matching shirts?
On Wednesday? Or
Thursday.
Aren't you off on Thursday?
I am off Thursday.
Okay. I can wear it, though.
Well, no, I want to be twins. I want to wear it together. So we'll do it.
Let's wear it Friday, then.
Yeah. Okay, let's wear it Friday.
Let's wear the damn shirts on Friday.
All right, there we go. All right, so we were talking about at the beginning of the hour whether or not our lawmakers read the entire bill when something drops. It's 389 pages. But there are journalists who read the entire thing.
Oh,
and
yes,
so there
are.
was a piece that was picked out. So we talk about this a lot as, I don't know if you want to talk about it being fat in the bill or whenever there's things that are kind of snuck in that's like, well, this has nothing to do with the budget. So Republicans have inserted language into this budget reconciliation bill that they're going to now debate that would ban states from regulating AI in any capacity for 10 years. This is exactly how it says. In general, except as provided in paragraph 2, no state or political subdivision thereof may enforce any law or regulation regulating artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems during the 10-year period beginning on the date of the enactment of this act.
Now, some Republicans would say, well, I want government to keep their nose out of our business. Maybe that's what it is.
But simultaneously, we're now catching up because we've talked about this before as far as what's going to be happening with social media and phones in schools. Because I think it was just yesterday or today that Glenn Youngkin in Virginia is passing a bill that basically says social media companies have to put in limits for students who are or children who are under 16 years old that maxes at an hour per day.
Right.
So I don't know how these companies are going to do that, especially for one state. If that ends up being all these different states having these different laws that they're trying to now catch up when it comes to the mental health of our children. And AI is probably exponentially more powerful as far as what impact it's going to have on our careers, on our cognitive abilities and that atrophying. And they're saying states are not going to have the ability to regulate that at all. Good thing or bad thing? And does it belong in the budget?
It doesn't belong in the budget. That's a no-brainer. But think about who has influence with the highest level of Republican, at this moment, party politics. Billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg and, Bezos, and of course Elon Musk, who's at every Oval Office cabinet meeting.
Is he still? I feel like he's been quiet for the last couple of weeks.
He's on his way out, which is a little slower than I would have liked. But at any case, those guys want government to stay out of their business. And they've actually rolled back all the protections and some of the things they implemented in their platforms to safeguard against some of the things that have plagued us when it comes to social media. And AI is the next piece of this, and I don't think they want them involved at all. So I would go so far as saying Elon Musk and Donald Trump have talked to Republican leadership in the House and Senate and said, you know what? Stay out of it for now. And that's the power and influence that one or two or three people can have at the highest level of our government when Donald Trump's president. And I think it's dangerous. And you and I we're doing a whole podcast on this, on what AI and the friendship, boyfriend-girlfriend relationship is going to.
Well, that's what's coming out on Thursday, as far as the Mark Zuckerberg's
his idea,
his great idea, as far as that's gonna fill the friendship gap between people having, on average only 3 real friends, the desire for 15 friends, and so maybe they'll just have 12 chatbot friends. Yeah. And I think that is one of the many aspects of this, that if it is not regulated, we are putting ourselves in a bad situation. And I'm not arguing that states and state governments are the best place to regulate it. I do think there needs to be more conversation at the federal level when it comes to this for multiple reasons, including the fact that as a state that keeps having data center after data center proposed to be coming to our communities, what does that do to the communities when it comes to their water, when it comes to their energy, and to feed the convenience of being able to use AI for everything? What are the actual costs? And when does the government get involved in that?
The public loves technology. They love to consume all the newest things, the shiny new phones and the newest, applications and platforms. What the public doesn't understand is there are consequences, what you just talked about, the drain on our water supplies, the drain on our energy and our power grids. They're not going to like that because it's going to make their costs go up and it's going to change the way they do business. There has to be some oversight on this. And I know that I'm a small government guy, but you know what? There are certain things the government has to do. They have to provide power to all of us. We can't do it ourselves, other than if you're off the grid and you're not probably going to live the most fancy lifestyle, but that's not everybody.
Do you ever dream of going off the grid?
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like I'm finding myself doing that more often.
Yeah. Because
I'm like, what?
If you're handy enough to be able to do all this stuff.
Rat race.
Yeah. I think I could do it. Now, ask my wife, Kathy, that question. She's not ready for that. She's not ready. Not that she wouldn't be great at it, because she's a smart lady, smarter than me, but I don't think she's a fan of all the off-the-grid requirements that would change your lifestyle. Sort of a different way to end this topic, but it is an interesting look. We have to have government oversight. Well, here's the thing.
Do you agree or disagree that this should be...
No, it should not be in the bill.
Should not be in the bill. Do you think it's a good idea to limit states' abilities to regulate whether it's social media or AI or any of these technologies?
No, absolutely not.
What do you think about Mike Lee proposing that we should ban all porn?
Good luck, Mike. Because last time I checked, we're the largest consumer of porn in the world, the country of the United States. Well beyond the population of the United States.
And who in the country?
Mostly young men and men in general. Not women, surprisingly.
I think, but I also feel like that this is always what it comes. I know we've got to go to a break, but I also feel like any reporting we have on porn consumption, it's probably wildly underreported.
Probably, yes.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's the one thing when Wisconsin's the drunkest state, yada, 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 whenever we see those maps come out about how every state, every county in Wisconsin drinks too much.
Yeah, which is true, by the way.
But I also think it's because Wisconsinites have no shame in admitting how much they drink and how much in some of these other states are people, it's like when you're at the doctor, like, how much do you drink this week? You're like, oh, like 3. Maybe it's 3 a week. It's like lies.
You know those questions they ask you at the doctor's office? They should ask the porn question just to see what people say. How about that? She's Kristin, I'm Steve. A couple more segments in the show today. Thanks for joining us. As always, you can find our podcast this afternoon wherever you get your podcasts. And it's always a good listen because you can listen to it quicker. If you missed anything, you want to hear part of an interview or the whole show over again, you can listen to it faster.
You can listen at 2x.
2x.
So we sound like little mice yelling at each other.
I don't know how much you glean from that, listening at that fast volume, but you do you, and we'll do our thing. More next.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, Milwaukee's medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Weekend appointments available. Call now. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Hey, WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi from Milwaukee Weight Loss. It is amazing, and I've been on this journey for about 3 months plus now, already lost 40 pounds. Yes, it's the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day. Their doctors developed. Easy to follow. I can follow it. You can certainly follow it as well. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects. None of the gimmicky stuff like the meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise, but I would encourage you to get out there and do some light walking. Their program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. I've been on the maintenance phase for over a month now, and I've actually lost a few pounds in addition to the pounds I'd already lost in the reduction phase. Their program, get this, costs up to half as much, works up to twice as fast. If you have a big event you're planning for, a wedding, a big trip, you want to lose some weight, go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, schedule your free consultation. Here's what you do. Call 262-449-1180 or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
$1 in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. Buy one or a whole set. This is Jim Griffin, any major brand. We'll put you in new tires for just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. That's right, $1 over cost, and we'll even show you the invoice to prove it. So what's the catch? There's really no catch. You don't have to buy a car or a truck from us. We'd like it if you did, but our only requirement is we put them on for you. Buy 1, 2, or a set of 4. The $1 deal at Griffin. Available at Griffin Chrysler Jeep South, 27th Street and Jefferson. Griffin Ford, Waukesha, and Fort Atkinson. 5 ways to make your dollar go further. Griffin, the buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with any other tire offers. Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
One of the things that people have been talking about this month, of course, is our Salute to Service. And somebody asked me yesterday in an email, all right, so what's going on? I said, this is interview week. So we've played a couple of the features that we've done in the past. And I don't want to do that every day, but we love telling those stories. And this week on our Salute to Service mission for this May of 2025 is we are gathering now all the interview material so that producer Jazz can put a feature together. And then all of those honorees will join us live on the show next week in the last half hour. So that's generally 11:30. I know we have an early out for Brewers next week, Wednesday, so that'll be a little bit earlier. But they'll come in studio. We'll play the feature. We'll have a conversation. It's really just about sharing sort of the great life experience, the great, in some cases, heroism. We got a story about someone saving one's life when their heart stopped, which we're doing some of those interviews this afternoon. It's an amazing thing when you think about it, because I know part of that story already, having talked to one of the people involved. Other people stood around not knowing what to do when this individual was on the treadmill, who was fit, by the way, running on the treadmill, and their heart stopped. And other people stood around sort of waiting, which is not a good thing, which is encouraged. Kathy and I are both going to refresh our CPR skills and training because I think it's so valuable. So when you have kids and it's people around you.
Because do you feel like so you're going to redo your CPR training?
It's been many years since I did it.
This happened as far as just being someone who has the knowledge, but also the instinct to know what to do in those situations. This is almost a year ago. We were on a vacation with our friends for a friend's 40th birthday. And we're out in the beautiful patio area having brunch. And a guy walked by us and he almost looked, it was like in the morning though. So we assumed that he wasn't drunk, but he kind of was stumbling. And then all of a sudden he just tipped over. He didn't stumble and like try to catch himself. Like a tree just fell over. Right. He was having a seizure. Mm-hmm. And one of our friends who was sitting with us had a brother who had epilepsy. And she knew almost immediately what to do and trying to get the health app on his phone up for people to be able to understand like what medications he was potentially on. And it was incredible to watch someone who just instinctively knew how to react, because a lot of us, like you were just saying, including myself, I like hate to admit, just froze because you know something's wrong and you're trying to get hotel staff and of someone to be like, but you're like, what do I even do in this situation when someone obviously needs help?
And I don't want to be one of those people. And my buddy Ken, who I've known for 50 years since high school, he saved someone's life at his club a couple years ago, and the gentleman thanked him profusely for the next 2 years because he literally would have died there. Yeah. Where he was working out. And he was also somebody that wasn't like overweight, or you never really know. And that's two things. One, update your CPR skills if you can, because it's so helpful in any situation, including just being able to do the Heimlich on people. It's not that complicated, and you can save someone's life. But beyond that, you want to be the right person at the right time. And if people are standing around not getting involved while someone literally is passing away in front of your own eyes, that's not being a good citizen. And I think part of what we do here on our Salute to Service Honors and Heroes Week is that we tell stories that are sort of amazing. They're not all that amazing. Some of them are just great. Here's why we're nominating this person, because they're a great human being. They're doing a great service, serving our public interest. Protect and serve is the common theme of police officers, obviously. Fire safety folks. So we're going to be doing all those interviews. We're wrapping those up this week, and then starting Monday at 11:30, we're going to tell those stories, and you can share it with us live on the radio. They get a lot of great perks from some of the local restaurants who are our partners. And I have to thank, because they've been here for so many years, Waterstone Bank, stepping up for us again as our presenter. It is an honor to work with them, and it is a great company. And I love telling these stories, and I've done it, I think, for 7 years now, and we'll do it next year.
Did you do it as soon as you got your show?
Yeah.
He's been doing
it. It was one of the first things my boss, who hired me, who's not here anymore, said, you should do this, because of my connection with public safety folks. So that's all happening this week. We'll present them to you next week. Quick break, one final break for Kristin and Steve on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
Practical principles that make every dollar count. Small budget advertisers can't afford to waste one penny. It all has to go to work in the most effective and efficient way possible. Anderson Smith advertisers are setting themselves apart 24 hours a day, every day of the year. The power of the airwaves is real. You just have to know how to harness it. We'll get you deals you can't, and you'll get results that you won't without us. Anderson-Smith.com. We help small business advertisers get better results. Don't buy ad packages. Buy into a plan, even if you don't use us to do it. Because unless you're willing to sell your product or service for a lot less than what it's worth, you're setting yourself up for almost guaranteed failure. Put an ad plan together and stick to it. Tell them what sets you apart and have consistent branding so it can work for you with a snowball effect rather than just trying to make a big splash. And if you need someone who can really make your dollars work hard for you, Anderson-Smith.com. We help small business advertisers get better results.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Get help for your house this Saturday from Eric Brown. The president of Siding Unlimited knows his stuff. Yes, their name is Siding, but they do so much more. Windows by Pella and others, roofing, decks. That's why they are Siding Unlimited. Eric can advise you with anything about your home's exterior. Make a point to listen and call Eric this Saturday on WTMJ's Fix-It Show. And remember why they are called Siding Unlimited. They are siding and much, much more. See sidingunlimited.com and you'll see.
I gave it a shot, and I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
Want to stay up to date with the crew?
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Got him with a changeup for strikeout number 1,000 in the career of Freddie Peralta.
Tune in to Brewers Extra Innings with Dominic Cotroneo after every game.
Reaches 1,000 strikeouts, the fastest Brewer ever to reach 1,000 strikeouts in his career. It took him just over 800 career innings.
Or listen anytime on the Brewers All Access podcast feed. We are your home of the Brewers. WTMJ. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right. Brewers, goes fast.
I think Jazz is telling us to move it along.
Move it along. All right, well, tomorrow, we're back to Ask Us Anything. It's another short show because the Brewers. How are you feeling about the Brewers so far this season?
Not good.
Yeah,
they got a lot of injuries, but we'll all be out there on Saturday on WTMJ Day.
I need to get a new, because she's outgrown it, as kids are wont to do. Where's a good place to get Brewers kids clothes besides the pro shop at AmFam?
Kohl's.
Yeah?
They got a lot of gear.
All right. Well, we got one of those right next to us. I'll go check out. I need some size 2T, because she is a big kid. Brewers gear because she will be there with us on WTMJ Day on Saturday.
It looks like the weather's going to be okay. It's going to be a little windy, but maybe not so bad that it's blowing stuff around. But it's going to be warmer. It'll be in the 60s. So good day. And then I'm guessing the roof will be closed. And then the big moment when I hand you the ball that you get to throw the first pitch. Very exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
Did you see the? I don't know. Maybe you did. It depends on what side of the internet you're on. My husband saw it, so I don't know what that says about him. But there was a South Korean actress, beautiful, who threw out the first pitch at like a Dodgers game, and then they panned over to the dugout, and all the players were pretty impressed. I think I did see that. Yeah. And so it was just guys being guys, and so Mike said that to me. He goes, "Are you gonna wear that outfit?" I was like, "Absolutely not," because she's in very tight spandex leggings, and she was very beautiful.
Just have fun with it. And don't be nervous, because there's no reason to be nervous in front of.
I can't do worse than 50 Cent did.
No, I guarantee
I won't do worse than 50 Cent did.
All right. So thanks for listening as always. Lots more to get to on the show. We'll do it tomorrow. As we said, Ask Us Anything in a shortened show because of the Brewers, who will get their act together at some point this season. Lots more to come. News is next on 620 WTMJ.
Looking for a getaway with fantastic outdoor recreation? Sheboygan is a perfect destination. Hike or bike through Kohler Andre State Park and other local parks. There are all kinds of water sports, including surfing, paddleboarding, and kayaking. Sheboygan's walkability takes you to South Pier. Visit shops, play mini golf, and enjoy fine dining. Shop their farmers market and take in live music. It's the Malibu of the Midwest. Plan your getaway today at visitsheboygan.com.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, our weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market and how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. Sponsored by the original Knowledge Broker, R&R Insurance. And joining us today, Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance